Oh, there I am. Hello. Let me make sure everything's all copacetic. There we go. Okay. Okay. Nice. Welcome to Friday. I'm Brian. This is my stream. And for those of you who listen to the audio podcast and found our YouTube channel or Twitch, welcome. I just posted the Tuesday stream to the podcast today. So those of you following the RSS feed, which by the way, I found out Stitcher is going away. I found that quite interesting. We're definitely going to be doing Rust today. So if you are here, dead. If you search Google Stitcher is dead, Stitcher app and web listening will be shut down on April 29th. Apparently they were bought by somebody and okay, good. Getting my Rustology. Yeah, so they put it out basically dead and gone. So they put out a post about it, their farewell FAQ, talking about what's going to happen there. SiriusXM, of course, killed it. In the grand tradition of large organizations getting rid of things that aren't making them money and only costing them things, this was... Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it? So yeah, this is it's actually being discontinued. So if you apparently have a subscription or what have you, you need to figure out what that means for you. So yeah, I mean, I've been posting to Stitcher and other podcast platforms for a while now. So it was kind of interesting to see that happening. So you can always find our audio show on iTunes, Google, Audible, bunch of other places. And, you know, if you just enjoy watching and looking at my pretty face, YouTube always has our videos as well as, you know, all your favorite video streaming services like Twitch and YouTube. So how's everybody doing today? It's Friday. Trying to juggle the life of working at a big organization with a new move, family members not overly pleased about the recent move. I'm trying to juggle the post-high school life of our child who's now 17, almost 18, to figure out how to help her. And it's hard for her to adjust. She lived in high school during the time of COVID, and I think that affected people a lot more than what we believe did happen. So we're going to be working with her on learning how to do things like networking, and we're trying to find ways that we can get her to engage, or you know, how she can help get some of that out. Because like right after high school, you know, right after graduation, like 2 weeks later, we're in San Diego, and she hadn't been here since she was 4 years old. So a lot of things have changed, and so we're trying to figure out, you know, things that she could do, things that she wants to do. Just getting her to explain to us what that means to her is something that is taking a little bit of work, because she hasn't completely made up her mind yet. So for those of you who have children, you know, sometimes I hope you can sympathize with me on that, where it's like, it's almost like where, you know, what restaurant you want to go to, and that person says, I don't know, where do you want to go? And you're like, I wouldn't have asked you if I, you know, my menu and palate are such that I can pretty much eat anywhere. But it's like, you know, where do you want to go? You know, and you know, you have that back and forth, and it's like, you know, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, I don't know yet. She's about to start community college in August, so we're hoping that by having 3 classes on campus, that she'll be able to find some people of similar interests and affinity groups and those kinds of things. So okay, so I welcome the viewer that I have. I don't know who that person is, but thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. Oh, that's not good. I have a red, green. Oh, it's green now. Okay, let me turn off my preview. I'm not sure if it's a internet thing or what, but I lost a little bit of speed there on my rendering time. So, um, big camera, small browser. Okay, so yeah, these are our recent episodes. I obviously just put this one online, but you can see where everything gets sent to in the stream. There we go. Um, actually, I went back through. Oh, there it is. Okay. I went back through the Twitch stream and found a couple more links that I didn't have available. So if you go and follow our RSS feed, which you can go to https breakingsecurity.com/RSS, you can get a hold of all the stuff that we didn't copy into the chat room, including, tabletop exercise, the vulnerabilities that came up, the Twitter handle thread about the fraud, the phone number fraud. So anyway, so I bought a book. We're doing Rust today, obviously. I bought the book on Kindle, so it's. Oh wait, let me. Studio modes. While I'm vamping here, I will go ahead and say that. Oh, the other bit about the Earth being less attracted to me. I had a. There we go. I had a slight problem with my increased mass when we were moving, to the point where I was avoiding checking my, checking the scales, avoiding the mirrors, etc. And I went back and got on the old scale, and the scale said "ouch," and I'd gained about 15 pounds in the last 2.5 months, and I'm sure some of it was stress based, as it was a little on the stressful side moving. So yeah, so I've been fixing that. I got all my workout gear, I got my weights and stuff, so I'm trying to get back to that. I've started running, jogging more. So I'm trying to get back to a healthier weight than I was before. So I had to do things like tell myself the next time I can have a donut is when I hit 190 pounds, which will be in roughly, well, according to today's measurement, about 10 pounds. So once I get down to 10 pounds, then I can have all the apple fritters I want. So I have to set these kinds of goals for myself and almost do kind of an aversion therapy to them. Otherwise, things don't work out well. So I did that when I went keto as well and lost my 60 pounds. So I figure if it worked for the 60 pounds, it'll work again for the 10 pounds. So why am I got this Pact Publishing book up? Good question. We talked in previous Rust streams where, I want to learn how to do something with it. And I was like, okay, let's make a game. There's no shortage of games out there for this kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, let's make a game. So found a book on Pact Publishing that wasn't overly expensive. You could get it on Kindle. As a matter of fact, I think I picked it up for a song on Kindle, the Kindle app. So in my library. So I didn't realize I'd bought so many books in Kindle, but game development with Rust and WebAssembly. All the game development stuff, especially if you run it in the web, appeared to need WebAssembly. There were some Node.js related items, and of course, Rust. So I picked up this book. Eric Smith wrote it. Let me go back to it. Eric Smith wrote this book on Rust. Let me see if I can find an Amazon. I don't know what all that is. Where's the first friggin' link? Eric Smith, Rust game dev Pact Publishing. This is why I can never use like OK Google or whatever. Hey, what's the weather like tomorrow?
Tomorrow in San Diego, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 29 and a low of 18.
29 is not bad. So this is the book from Pact Publishing. You can grab this book. You can get it here with a subscription if you have a Pact Publishing. Oh, sorry, y'all. Translation. There we go. You can get the book from Pact Publishing if you have a subscription. If you don't, then it's on Kindle on Amazon's site. That's where I picked it up at. There we go. See, I just purchased Kindle version of this and come out pretty well, as you can see. So it was written in 2022. So what I'm hoping is that it's not, like from 1999 or whatever. So it's like Rust 1.0. So, whatever. So we, should be still fairly decent, fairly current, as we found. And what we've been told is Rust is kind of future proof. So if we run into some issues there, we can work that out. I may end up having to do some things with this book that I can't talk about on a stream because I don't want a copyright infringement. The one thing I did find interesting is the author of this book, Eric Smith, is also on Twitch. He is a Twitcher, Peyton Rules. So if you found or are finding value in this, and he actually wrote the book based on work with his stream, on his stream. Let me see, what did it say here? So let me see, he said, so he's worked at 8th Light. Eric wrote much of the book, or much of the code for this book, on his live stream at twitch.tv, Peyton Rules. When he's not at the computer, you can find him running ops courses and traveling with his family. So I'm not saying that, we're going to, learn as fast as Peyton did on Peyton Rules, but I did follow him. I would suggest if y'all find value from this, send him a shout out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send him a shout out right here. Peyton Rules. Doink. There you go. And so, looks like he does a lot more Rust than I do. So if you want to see somebody who actually works with Rust on a regular basis, go check out his stuff. Looks like it's been a few years since he's been on, but the content's probably still pretty good in that respect. So, okay, so I'm gonna start our, where is, okay, so Kindle UI. Okay. Is everyone doing okay? Just to make sure we're all doing, let me see, got some chill hop. There we go. Yeah, got her from the Mr. Raccoon. There we go. All right, turn that off. Okay. Gonna set up everything ready to go here. Open URL. Yep. Okay. There we go. Got some nice music here in the background. Turn down my audio so I can hear myself think. There we go. If it gets too annoying, please reach out and stream and let me know. That way we can keep track of that. Okay. VS Code and hot player. All right, so I don't think we'll need this browser up today. We'll have the other stuff. So I do have the YouTube chat popped out onto a separate directory. If you make comments, I should be able to see it now because I've got it on the side with my OBS over here. So the table of contents for the book that we are following along with, if you show up late, it's in the chat there. Where's the... Okay, I'm gonna have to rejigger my OBS channel thingy here. Okay, come on, baby. Okay, well, we'll just go that route with it. So it's going to obviously give us some. So chapter 1 is Hello WebAssembly, which is kind of interesting. So it's going to drop us right into WebAssembly immediately, and we'll be creating a project skeleton for that. There's our VS Code behind our browser. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna hide Firefox for now. That way I can move this over. And there we go. Okay. Pop that down and shrink my body. There we go. So, I guess I'm going to need to learn WebAssembly at some point. So, yeah, we're going to learn WebAssembly at the same time we're going to be learning all this. So, get your VS Code stuff up and running if you'd like. And because I think somebody in our Slack channel said, yeah, I really need to learn, Rust. And I was like, oh, well, surprise, surprise. That's what I'm doing right now. So we'll pass this along to Kagatar if we need to. I want to do that. I just wanted to shrink up the UI. There we go. All right. Oh, okay. So I already don't like the Kindle app. I've never liked the Kindle app. I'm just trying to be somewhat legit here because I don't want to get in trouble. So you should understand. I stopped listening to musicals. Music come to. Well, thank you, Beta Wolf. I appreciate that. You didn't have to. That's fine. You should understand. I appreciate you. Yeah. I don't know where to go with that. What I'm hoping is he doesn't come in here and go, hey, you must name your firstborn Rust if you want to learn anything in here. I see. West Side Story. Well, which version of West Side Story? Is it the original from like the 1970s, or is it like the one that Spielberg did? I'm not against Spielberg. I just I don't want to say stay in your swim lane because I'm sure he, I was half expecting Ewoks and shit to come out of that. So, okay, yeah, good. Okay, 1961 version's pretty good. Yeah, so this is a fairly lengthy book. So if you haven't had a chance to read through it yet, please, follow along with me. Wait, I'll pause here and let you go buy the book. Okay, we've unpaused. Is this the Rust book or something else? So yeah, Beta Wolf, the Pact Publishing link, which I put up earlier in the notes. Let me reactivate my UI for my Fire the Fox. So Control Shift T, Control Shift T, Control Shift T. There we go. So I'll just leave this up while we're doing it. So game development with Rust and WebAssembly, how to run Rust on the web while building a game. So you can go grab this book if you'd like. It's going to be interesting to go through this, and it may not be the only book I ever buy on Rust. So I have several books on all kinds of programming languages, Python, Go, etc. So yeah. So, yeah, there we go. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I can't do, yeah, I fail at internet. At some point I'm going to have to figure out a better way of doing all this shit. So, I've also figured out that I'm going to, at some point, learn how to use tools like DaVinci or whatever to create some graphics or logos or some shit for this. So, all right. So we're going to go into Rust. I'm going to create a new folder. We're going to call this Rust game. Oh, let's not put spaces because I hate when people put spaces and stuff. Rust game dev. There we go. All right, so got to create some stuff. All right, so Rust programming language, most loved technology on Stack Overflow, 6 years running, etc., etc., etc. JavaScript's been the most used programming language for 9 straight years, runs on every web browser. Now, thanks to WebAssembly or WASM, you can use the language you love on a platform that's everywhere. This book is for developers interested in Rust who want to create and deploy 2D games to the web, game developers looking to build a game using WebAssembly without C++ programming, or web developers who want to explore WebAssembly along with JavaScript web will also find this book useful. The book will also help Rust developers that want to move from server-side to client-side by familiarizing themselves with WebAssembly Toolkit. Okay, so looks like Chapter 1 will be setting up our first WebAssembly project, explaining the tool chain and run an application in the browser, drawing to the HTML canvas we'll be using throughout the book. And then Part 2, I don't know how long the book is, but we'll probably do a couple of Fridays with Chapter 1 before we get into Chapter 2. So introduce you to our main character, Red Hat Boy, by showing you how to render a PNG file to the screen. Then we'll make Red Hat Boy run with animation and a sprite sheet. Well, there you go. All right. Well, and again, this book at Peyton Rules on Twitter, on Twitch. If you're interested, go give that person a shout out, even though it looks like they haven't streamed in a couple years. So maybe they've faded away. Hopefully that won't be the case, but we're going to be taking up the mantle here. Maybe they just got busy writing this book and they didn't have a chance to do any more streaming. So, by the way, our stream and podcast brought to you by Blumera, security company. For those of you interested, we do a lot of stuff here, security, technology kind of stuff. So they provide an easy-to-use SIEM and XDR solution that can be set up in minutes. Teams of all sizes can resolve security threats faster with detection rules written by the podcast and stream own Amanda Berlin, Miss Berlin. So Beta Wolf says, next year I will be returning to streaming. What do you plan on streaming, Beta Wolf? Is it a development thing, or do you want to, you doing things that are not related to your job? Because I've actually thought about doing some stuff not related to my job, but that would require me to do yet another thing. So, we'll have to see what happens there. But I mean, what kind of content are you looking to create? Oh, by the way, you can go to blumera.com/break if you want to check out Blumera. As a sponsor, they'd love to see clicks, so feel free to click on the link just to go to their website. I assure you, you don't have to put in an email or anything you don't have to do anything that's going to cause you to run into any kind of sales or anything like that, as far as I know. But they would like to know that people see our stream and click on the links. So a nice mix: programming, showing my interest in process, gaming, and news stories for things that relate to my interests. So similar to you and Primeagen. Okay. I look forward to you automatically being more popular than me ever, and we'll make sure that we get your name out there. So so one thing I'm going to make change on for this, I realize that now, have put my GitHub projects on Google Drive, which when we're doing the Google stuff comes up kind of getting ugly. So I'm going to add a folder to the workspace, as we do in... Okay, so what you didn't see there was me adding a new folder, and then the dialog that says add folder to workspace. I'm actually moving the dialog box here because for some reason it's not showing the whole screen. I'm going to put the Rust Web Dev, WASM, JavaScript, Node.js, God knows what else we're going to be putting on here, on my local drive, on the C drive. And then what I'll do is I'll just sync that across to my GitHub when I get a chance. But what I don't want is the errors that we were getting in compilation time, because that confuses me. It scares me because it's unknown. And for people watching the Rust streams, they're going to ask me why the hell I'm putting that in Google Drive, which it's a better than fair question. I just did it because then I can touch all of my code across all of my systems, but that kind of defeats the purpose of using GitHub, which is going to allow me to sync the stuff from my GitHub. So I'm going to, go into Yeah, Beta Wolf. Plus, you know, in the path there is a space, not one space, but in some drug-addled, you know, world, I put GitHub space projects, and I hate myself because I put a space in there, and normally I rail against people who do that. So I'm going to put this in my documents folder. So documents, I'm going to call this Rust Web Dev. Rust Web Dev. Okay, and then, so what you're not seeing is me looking at a add folder to workspace. I just created a folder inside of Windows Explorer to create that folder, and now I'm going to add, yes, I trust the author of the folder. All right, so I've created Rust Web Dev, and I'm going to open a terminal to that directory. As you can see, users, Brian, documents, Rust Web Dev. So it's only one. No spaces, because spaces are bad in Unix file names. Because you forget a backslash, you forget to escape something, code won't run. It sees these as two arguments instead of one single folder. You get all kinds of shit that goes on. So, best practice: don't put spaces in your anything where you've got a path, because having to remember to escape something is a pain in the ass. So, alrighty then. So, I'm scrolling down with my finger if I forget to move across. Okay, so the code example files for this, very graciously, Packt Publishing has put the code for this in a directory. Come on, you rat bastard. There we go. The code for all of this is in the Packt Publishing directory. You can go and grab code examples or snippets there if you're the copy-paste kind of developer versus the writing the code yourself developer. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those. I mean, the copy-paste developer is just grabbing dependencies from a website, for instance. I think it's no different than loading a module, because otherwise we'd be copy-pasting every module inside of our own code. So, yeah. So, according to GitHub code last year, 2 years ago. So it's pretty much assumed that if you've got the book and you've got the GitHub link, the code that is in the book will work in that respect. So, all right. So yeah, build and deploy REST application to the web using WebAssembly, using WASM-BindGen and Canvas API to draw real-time graphics, writing a game loop and taking keyboard input for dynamic action. Explore collision detection and create a dynamic character that can jump on and off platforms and fall down holes. So basically, we're going to create Mario, right? From a company that I won't name on here. We're creating a platformer or a Metroidvania type. It sounds like we're doing something similar to that, like a Metroidvania kind of thing. For those of you who aren't aware, Metroidvania are some of my favorite types of games. That's all we had back in the day when we were playing on the the system. So, all right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to that. The problem I have with Kindle, book will always work. Exactly. That's cross fingers. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, because once I start getting PC load letter errors, also the Rust book, which we may or may not end up having to refer to every once in a while, is right here. Doink. So yeah, Rust 1.67. Okay, so one of my messages didn't send. Lol. Oh, okay. All right, so if you're using the digital version of the book, we advise you to type the code yourself or access the code from the book's GitHub repo. A link is available in the next section. Doing so will help you avoid any potential errors related to the copying and pasting of code. So you say, oh, here's the software and hardware list. Can I make this larger? Oh, that's full screen. I don't want full screen. Single column, 2 column? Oh, no, I want single column. We are not heathens. Autofit column. Okay. So we're going to use RustUp, WASM-Pack, Webpack, HTML Canvas, which is on any modern web browser, Netlify, CLI, GitHub Actions. Okay, so there's obviously some security involved here because and Texture Packer. So those are available for both Windows OS and Mac and Linux. So, all right, cool. We also have code bundles from our rich catalog of books available. Yeah. The problem I have with Pack Publishing is it sometimes runs hot or cold on with regards to book quality. I'm hoping this is one of the ones that is better there. So we also provide a PDF that has color images, screenshots, and diagrams in the book. So you can grab the PDF from here as well. So here are the examples that are in the book that are full color that we we'll see. So like at some point we'll be running a local web host here according to this. None of you can see that. But yeah, so you go to the PDFs, shows you some of the output that we will have here. I forgot for a second what was going on in your life. Oh, hey, Walt. Oh my goodness. Radio. Oh, that's right. You're killing your. Yeah. My wife had hers killed too. She murdered that thing real good. She had to stay in another room for like 3 days because she would have irradiated myself or the cats or my daughter. So I appreciate your taking the time, Walt, to hang out with us today. Thank you for doing that. And yeah, that's not it wasn't overly painful for my wife when she went through something similar, but it's just the idea of being radioactive for ill or good. So, but I hope it gets you to where you need to be in the next couple weeks. So, oh wow. Okay, so that's available. Okay, so we are back. Damn it. Okay, so conventions used. All right, so getting in touch. All right, so copyright author.packedpublishing.com if you're interested in being an author. I don't see his name, but we can find out his information online if we need to. So getting us started with Rust and assembly. All right, so let me make sure that nobody is hitting us up in chat on YouTube. Okay. All right, good. All right. Spread this out a little bit. Hope everyone's having a good... It's not like the Imagine Dragons song. Oh, yeah, radioactive. Oh, my hell. Well, that's good, Walt. I hope the pill does what it's supposed to do and finishes that cancer off. Yeah, it's fuck that cancer. You know what I'm saying? So, have had several. Kevin Mitnick. We just heard of his passing. Very polarizing figure in our industry from security point of view, and it's. I don't think I saw more than a few people saying they didn't even know he was ill. So he did a really he's a very private person by nature, I'd assume, and so yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but we're pulling for you, Walt, and yeah, that's good. Yeah, you I would say 4 meters, I think, is far enough because I think it's alpha radiation. It's not, something that can get through the skin, which is why you're taking the pill internally. It's going to just kind of bounce around inside your body, not cause anybody else any issues. So, for the most part, within certain feet or what have you. So, all right. Damn it. Okay. So the one thing that's going to annoy me is when I click on the left side of the UI, it goes back a page. When I click on the right side of the UI, it goes forward a page. That's annoying, and I don't like that. But I'm not going to be able to fix that right now. So, color mode, white, sepia, or black. Okay, so it has dark mode, and that's good. All right, so WebAssembly is a great way to deploy your Rust programs to the web. Good news, you're right. Rust and web are a match made in programmer heaven, and while WebAssembly is still early days in 2022. Really? Game development's an ideal candidate for WebAssembly. I'm excited to be guiding you through the building a game for the web in Stack Overflow's most loved language. The good thing is you've got a community of Rust folks on Stack Overflow if you find yourself stuck on something. So if it's the most popular or most loved language, you should be able to find information or help on how to fix it. So, all right. So in this chapter, we'll cover the following topics: what's WebAssembly, creating a Rust and WebAssembly project skeleton. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Translating JavaScript code into Rust code. Huh. So that's really interesting. Translating JavaScript code into Rust code. So we're taking, I'm not trying to overthink this, but so we're gonna transpile it, I think is how they call it. They transpile something. We may be transpiling from JavaScript into Rust or vice versa. And then we'll be drawing the screen with HTML5's canvas. So that is something I think that, okay. Okay, so along with the project skeleton, you'll need to install RustStep to install Rust toolchains. This can be found at ruststep.rs. You can install Rust in various toolchains without using a RustStep tool. It's not trivial, and I won't document it here. So, so Beta Wolf. I'm gonna treat this like a cooking competition. For those of you seeing Great British Bake Off, I've got to follow the book. So I can't trade it out for HTMX. If I'm building a cake, I can't go, well, I'm going to trade out the flour for, gravel. I don't know if HTMX is gravel. I don't know if what they're using here is complete garbage, but I have to start somewhere. And so I can't, if I'm trying to learn how to bake a cake, I can't, start making immediate changes right off snap. So I'm going to, let me make sure that RustUp update stable. Okay, so so we've got a few things to update, so that's always good to check and make sure we've got all our updates. So far, it hasn't asked me to install that Rust garbage that inputs code inside of my thing. But yes, Beta Wolf, you're absolutely right. There's more than one way to do things. You've always got developers out there like, this is garbage, I can do better, and they're going to create that thing, which is the fun of open source, but it's also the bane of open source because often there's too many people doing their own thing. So just something to think about there. All right. So we're getting some updates here. Let's continue reading through. So you'll need a web browser. So I've got a web browser. Which I will fix at some point in the near future. I think I'm slowly getting the Vim bug, and we'll start using NeoVim for a bit on my Linux laptop. You can use VS Code on Linux. I have used it. It is quite nice. I will not lie to you. It is quite nice. It's interesting to see something like what Microsoft builds work on a universal platform, like Mac OS or what have you. So, all right, we have been updated. We're at Rust 1.7.01710. Okay. If I could figure out how to stream on Linux, I would do so, because then I wouldn't have to worry about my computer, being garbage in a couple of years. Walt, use VI on Windows. I use VI on Windows. Yeah, I can use VI on Windows. Yeah, see? Wait. Huh. Oh, wait. Vim. Oh, crap. Sudo apt install Vim. Crap. this is only a terminal. Okay, my bad. This is PowerShell, right? PS PowerShell. My bad. I'm stupid. I do have Git Bash actually. Yeah, I do have the Git Bash on here. I also have, I was trying to do I have the WSL and Ubuntu 2204. But yeah, I have Git Bash, which, there we go. Now I got my Vim, one of my superpowers is I actually know how to exit out of VI. So that's always good. So VI test, blah, 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 blah. Escape. And then you go shift, WQ. I use bang. Some people don't use bang, but yeah. You can also install Vim in VS Code. Oh, that's some kind of, was that Inception shit? So yeah. Let me see what we got here. Okay, close that one. Main RS. That can be closed. All right, so we're gonna go down here to Rust Game Web Dev. And, it probably feels like, hey, Brian, why are you skipping around to a bunch of other shit and, whatever. Just like my Office, I'm on like version 5 of the Office here. And that box you see right back there is my second bookshelf that I've got a bunch of shit in my corner and other things that I'm going to have to, clean up this weekend. I'm a free spirit, me. And unfortunately, sometimes that means I need things just so. And I'm trying to find that just so that I can continue doing this stuff. And if I can build games with this, make the next Flappy Birds or, helicopter game or whatever, some bullshit, and I learn something and you learn something, then we all win. So use Git Bash to install it. You can also, you learn how you learn. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Beta Wolf. I just hope that everyone else has the same patience you have when they're watching these. So, and, maybe at some point we'll get the author on to talk about, my problems, and we can go, why did you do this? Why did you write it like this? This is awful. Or, hey, this was a really good book. Thank you. Hopefully it's the really good book. Thank you. Even though it doesn't look like he's got about a 3.7 on Amazon, but I'm not going to bag on anybody who has the time and effort to write a book. Well, I can't lie there. I kind of did bag on some people who wrote a book, but it was misinformation and like they had a direction I think they see, but I didn't see it when I was editing the book. So I've talked about it on the stream, but we won't go there. So, all right, technical requirements. If you want to see the following video to see the code in action, you can go and they have YouTube videos and stuff, looks like here, which is kind of cool. All right, so we've got what is WebAssembly? You picked up this book, you have some idea what WebAssembly is. Just in case, grab a definition from webassembly.org. WebAssembly is a binary instruction format for a stack-based virtual machine. So the idiot in me is asking, what is a stack-based virtual machine? My guess is that is a system that runs in a browser, stack-based. I'm going to search here, stack-based virtual machine. It's an abstraction of a computer that emulates a real machine. Well, yes, I know that. What I was just trying to say is, where does it exist? It just exists in memory, and there's nothing really important to it. It's built as an interpreter of special bytecode. It translates it in real time for execution on the CPU. So it's not a fully functional. It's not a container. It's not a VM like you'd find in VMware. It just kind of runs and here's a stack-based virtual machine. Okay. Uses a stack rather than registers. So stack pointers, the head of the stack. IP is the instruction pointer, which points to the address on the current instruction to execute it. Yeah, so there's some information there on Andrea Bergia's website on how all of this works with regards to the centrality of the stack. They even have register-based, so register-based virtual machines. Their design is different. So yeah, there's definitely some discussion there on that. The fact that it runs in the browser it's kind of similar to how, you can run things, or not run things inside the browser, but it sounds like, it carves out some space for you to be able to run things based on instructions, which is probably what Walt said, just, from being a dumb non-developer type. It's like I turn the key, and if the car doesn't go, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, all right, let's continue. God damn it. All right. WASM is a binary format. We can compile other languages so that we can run them in the browser. This is different than transpiling. Oh, okay, so we're not going to transpile, I don't think, our JavaScript. Those CPUs have a lot of registers. Forth style programs are stack-based. Oh, okay. All right. Languages are still ultimately running JavaScript, whereas WASM is bytecode that makes it smaller download. And parsing and compiling steps are removed when running it, which can lead to significant performance improvements. Let's be honest, you're not using Rust or WASM for performance improvements which aren't guaranteed anyway. You're using it because you like Rust. Okay, I know there are some people that only code for performance purposes, but yeah, we're not trying to get our Metroidvania running at 500 frames per second. We're just trying to get something that allow us to, make a sprite run across the screen. That is a whole lie. What is a whole lie, Beta Wolf? I'm assuming you don't mean Walt's thing. What was written in the maybe written in the book about Rust isn't performant. Rust is a great type system, excellent developer tooling, and a fantastic community. Not resting for performance. I think it probably means we're going to write. I don't want to say we're going to write quick and dirty, but we're going to write. There's obviously ways that you can tweak either the build components or the environment such that you can actually pull more performance out of it. I mean, if you run Gentoo in like the base version, you're going to get a certain level of performance, and then anybody who worships the god Gentoo, they're tweaking things to uninstalling drivers or certain compiling formats in their kernel to eke out every flop they can get off of that. So I'm assuming in this case we're going to use base level performant Rust, which may not be very good, but there's other things that make it more performant, like you said, using HTMX instead of the game engine that this book probably suggests. So you're gonna tweak things as you get smarter, as you get more knowledgeable, so that it will be more performant, or you're gonna get every flop you can out of your browser to be able to run your little critter at 500 frames per second. So. It says that's okay. It's a type system, has developer tooling and a fantastic community. WebAssembly was written with C and C++ in mind. Rust is a fantastic language for WebAssembly for all the reasons you love Rust and more. I wouldn't say I love Rust. It is just another programming language for me. All right. Over the years, JavaScript has evolved into a suitably modern language for that purpose. I'm not here to tell you that if you like JavaScript, you should stop, but if you love Rust, you should absolutely start compiling to WASM and running apps in the browser. So what it's saying is that WebAssembly appears to be a bit more performant than JavaScript might be. So Beta Wolf, the one thing I have noticed about developers and security people in general is they build camps, right? Rust people love them some Rust to the exclusion of all else, and then you've got the people in the fuzzy outside. It's like, well, Rust is good, and then you got these other things, and you got the Go folks that it's like, Go is God, and then you got the JavaScript folks, and no, join us over here. And I'm imagining it's like Anchorman with all the different news crews that come in. So you've got It's also is you like JavaScript. We've moved TypeScript, which is now looking at an evolution into EFF effect or EFF act. I don't know if it's actually capital E, capital F, act, or whatever their Beta Wolf, but tis what it is. Yeah, and I think we talked about this with Jay. It's like you've got to keep up on these things. Like you've got to keep up on everything Rust is doing, and how it's going to affect your code coming up. If you're deep into Kubernetes, you're going to want to know what Kubernetes has coming up, because maybe it's not doing something you want it to do, and it's like you're waiting for commit logs to go. Okay, it's implementing my performance thing, or effect.website. Okay, I will look at that later. We'll see, because I don't have the browser in the overlay, so we'll get there. This book is focused on making web-based games with Rust and WASM, but you can absolutely run WASM in server-side environments such as Node.js. Okay, so there was another book that we were going to read, that I was looking at, that was like use Node.js. So if you're going to do server-side based stuff, where you're going to go to a browser or what have you and build a game that is on your server, then you would want to learn some Node.js there as well. And of course, there's a couple links in the book to Mike Rourke's book, Learn WebAssembly, or the official WASM bind gen guide. So, hey, fix it. Guess I'm in all camps. I do like to type vars, so a minus for JS there. I have to do something in Rust, so I learn it. Yeah. I'd love for this to be like a book club thing where we're all, in a Discord, voice chat or something like that, and we would work through these if people are actually interested in doing that. What I've found is that it may start out that way, and then we just slowly lose people over time due to attrition or family or something like that. So, but if there's enough people in our Discord who want to learn Rust and want to do it together, I'm all in on that. So, I thought you were a dictator. I am an iron fist and a velvet glove, I think is what I've said on the Slack channel. Important note, it assumes you have some familiarity with Rust, although you do not need to be an expert. If at any time you're confused, I highly recommend you check out the book, which I've already put doc.rust-lang.org/book, which is a Rust book. So now that I've convinced you, you're already going to do anyway, let's go over some of the tools you'll need. So RustUp is how to install tool chains, compilers, and Rust documentation, which we just did earlier. Let me close this window here, kill that term. So when we did RustUp update stable, it went through and downloaded components. It updated our Rust version and made it so that we're running on the latest version of Rust. So that's important, RustUp. We need to install the WASM toolchain. You can install it from the previous link. The code in this book has been tested on Rust 1.5.7. So we're already up on 1.7.9, right? Or 1.7.1 in this case. And he did all this in 1.57.0. Node.js. God, let's get off. I'm going to have to install Calibre. I think I'm going to have to do that because it's going to annoy the shit out of me. Okay. All right, so we need to go to RustUp. Okay, so I should go RustUp, install WASM? Let me go look. RustUp, install WASM. No. From the previous link. Okay, so previous link was, okay, so I'm assuming it's this one here. Let me go double check. WASM bind gen. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let me make sure. I'm Googling install WASM, so if you're a Windows subsystem for Linux user, run the following in your terminal, then run the on-screen versions. Okay. So I'm going to, okay, so this is the command it wants me to run: curl https rust wasm github.io wasm pack installer init.sh, and then it's going to run the sh file when it's done. And of course, it can't run that. Okay, let's see. On supported platforms, you can use NPM or Yarn. Oh, Cargo. Cargo install. Okay, so Cargo was the other thing. Install WASM pack. There we go. All right, so we're installing some crates. We're uncrating, creating something, something, something. But we're installing a bunch of things for WASM to be able to Node-RED for streaming. Right, Fixit42, you told us about Node-RED the last time, I think. So yeah, I did take a look at that. We're compiling all of the crates and barrels and modules and oof, boy, that's enough to make the fan on my computer start turning on. All right. Yeah, we got our chill hop running here, so. All right, so we're building. All the things are building. There we go. So the WASM pack was on Rust WASM IO, but it told us that we can install from Cargo. So if you've got Rust up installed, then you just run Cargo install WASM pack down at the bottom there, where you see the little icon thing down here. So, and that installed our WASM pack.exe, and I will hide that transition. There we go. All right, so all right, so we need did it also say put Node.js on this garbage? Yeah, Node.js. I recommend installing the current LTS version, which is 16.13.0 at the time of writing. Older versions of Node.js may not work with the package creation tools as expected if you're using Ubuntu. Such as Node Version Manager. Oh yeah, I heard about this. It keeps track, when in doubt, Node Version Manager tool for Mac and Linux, or the corresponding NVMe Windows tool for Windows to ensure that you're using a long-term release version. I use the ASDF tool for managing multiple versions myself, although I don't usually recommend it to others. Okay. Alrighty. So, can I install Cargo? Install NVM. Nope. I was using the Hi Age of Music. How are you doing? We're gonna go learn how to do games and stuff. NVM or Windows. Okay, Node.js. Download and install Node Version Manager on Windows. Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. So we're in the process of. There we go. All right. So free node camp. Okay. So we'll follow steps to load. Okay. Head over to the NVM Windows repo, which is found here. Control C. Lock down the last of the Christmas album before we go to mixing and mastering. Oh, cool. What kind of Christmas album? Is it like a rock, or is it like a traditional kind of thing, or like the Chipmunks Christmas, or what kind of music are we talking? Like a lo-fi Christmas? Oh, that'd be sweet. Unconventional. Heavy metal, kind of like like little Guar doing Jingle Bells. Sorry, I got in my head, but I'm not sure how that works. Let me see. Reinstall global utilities. I envy those people that can do music and do the arts and stuff. My daughter, like I said, super talented on pottery and wheel stuff. Very much an artist, and I don't know where she got it from. Me and her mother are not. We are not talented in the arts like that. So we're very methodical and somewhat scientific. So let me know when your music is coming out. We'll have a listening party or something. Age of Music. I'm not saying let's do lunch, but I'd be interested in seeing what you make. All right, so I don't fiddle with zips, so I'm gonna install nvm setup.exe. Accept. Do you like 16th century coronation carols and songs about the ceasefire truce of 1914? I have heard of the story of the truce in 1914. Prison song, like work songs or anything like that. I've heard of the ceasefire truce of 1914. I have enjoyed some Gregorian chants from time to time. I find those quite interesting thoughts in my brain. Not like asthma stuff, but I have listened to some choral music or some chanting music. All right, so I installed that. It's not asking me for any other inputs. That's a positive. Let me double check and make sure we've got everything we need here. WASM pack, I did that. WASM bin bindogen. Wait, so we'll use Webpack to bundle our application. Most of the time you won't have to worry, it's there. I did install Node version. Let me double check and make sure that it actually exists on the system. I don't know how I would test for that. First half is on our website. If you ever want to check it out, I'll whisper it over. Okay, thanks, Age of Music. Okay, how do I confirm that it's actually been installed? Yeah. So we will go back and I will pull up cmd.exe. Let me hide that. I'm gonna need a transition button on my site here. Okay, so we need nvm, so I can go nvm. Oh god, okay, so there's probably some freaking, let's see here. Check some zips. Oh, of course it's written in Go. Weird. Okay. NVM installer, NVM use. Needs admin rights. Okay. Oh. Is it a node? Node. Dash me. NVM list. Nope. Installation and upgrades. Uninstall any existing versions of Node before NVM for Windows. Use the latest installer. Alternatively, follow. Yeah, I did all that. Okay, so I installed nvm setup.exe. Yeah, did that. Okay, good. Let's just continue on, and in case it needs Node.js right out of the gate, then we'll do that. So. Current template uses Webpack 4. Make sure to check that when looking up documentation. This is one of the crates you'll need to get to know Rust generated WebAssembly code. One limitation is you cannot access the DOM that represents a web page directly. Instead, WebAssembly programs need to call JavaScript functions to do that, requiring bindings and serializing data back and forth. Wow. Okay. What BindGen does is create those bindings, and the boilerplate needed to call JavaScript functions from your Rust code, as well as provide tools to create bindings in other directions so the JavaScript can call back to the Rust code. Okay, so we need to go both directions. It's bi-directional. I don't want to say inter-processing communications. It's it's a translation type thing. It's a middleware almost, where the BindGen goes, okay, I translate JavaScript to Rust and Rust to JavaScript. So. And then WebSys is a crate made up of many pre-generated bindings, including WASM BindGen for the web. we'll use WebSys to call browser. All right, so let me go ahead and crate install that one. Okay, I need to kill this. Kill that term. All right, and then Rust cargo install WebSys. Okay, there's nothing to install in WebSys because it has no binaries. Cargo installs only for installing programs. It can't be used with libraries. Okay, cargo add WebSys. Nope, not found. Okay. Well, Age of Music, eventually we will create, ideally, some kind of Metroidvania. Chapter 1 is pretty much getting to learn WebAssembly, and then Chapter 2 is going to be creating sprites. So ideally, it's going to be like a Mario kind of thing or a Flappy Birds kind of thing. All right, so both of these projects are important to the development of Rust as WebAssembly source. Neither has been updated since 2019 and can be safely ignored. Oh, okay. Now that we know the tools we'll be using, let's start building our first Rust project. All right, so these directions are likely based on the status of Rust Webpack template at the time of writing. It's likely to have changed it. If they don't make sense, check the documents for Webpack and use your best judgment. Okay, well, that is... At this point, I assume you've installed Rust up in Node.js. Well, we've installed something, I just haven't gotten to Node.js yet. Initializing the project. Let's start by initializing the project skeleton for your application, which will be the Rust Webpack template from Rust WASM group. It's found on Rust WASM. If you don't want to download it, you can use npm init to create like this. Okay. npm init. That's going to error. Yes. It will not be this day. I don't know, Age of Music, we'll see. About 45 minutes from now, I'm going to be required to take off my, web developer hat and put on my hat for cooking things. So, mkdir walk the dog, cd walk the dog, npm init. Yeah, so npm doesn't even come up. I'm wondering if I need to, let me close VS Code and start it up again. Sometimes after installing things, you need to, do what's necessary to npm. Okay, so npm did not work in that respect. Activating extensions. Okay, NVM installation. Okay, so there we go. So free code camp. All right, so we're gonna install it. Yeah. Okay, download now. Time of reading. Okay, I did that. Complete the installation wizard. Open the file that you've downloaded. Complete the installation. You should be able to run nvm-v. Okay, so nvm-v. Okay, so we're on 1.1.11 for nvm-v. Okay, how to install it on Mac and Linux. I don't need to know that, but here it is. If you're on a Mac or a Linux, you use curl-o or qo for wget and run that. So those are the commands if you're on Linux or Mac. Those are good to know. Curl or wget is always your friend. Update your profile. Config. The installation process from step 1 should automatically add NVM configuration to your profile. If you're using ZSH, it would be ZSHRC. If you're using Bash, it would be... If it doesn't automatically add it, you can add it to your own profile. I think this is a Linux thing because I'm running in Windows right now. So yeah, source bash RC. You can confirm those running. Okay, so wrapping up. With NVM installed, you can now install, uninstall, and switch between different node versions in your Windows, Linux, or Mac device. You can install node versions like this. NVM install latest. Holy shit, that worked. Look at me. Beta Wolf. I'm not an apostate. Should I now? I have to go bathe in the waters of Mandalore, or something. This will install the last version of Node. In this case, we now have 20.5.0 nvm use 25. Okay, so nvm use 20.5.0. God's bless. There we go. Now we're oh my. Okay, so what happened is the screen blanked, and UAC wants me to install using a Windows command processor. So I'm assuming, okay, so maybe it did like source bash RC or something for Windows, but it's asking me to source that. Okay, so you can also make a version of your default by running nvm alias default. Okay, so this is actually good information here if you haven't never installed Node or Node version manager. I'm hoping this is going to be easier than what it was done before. So if you want to use a specific version at any point, you can run the following terminal command. So nvm use and then whatever version you want. So if this book says, hey, you should run, God, okay, seriously, I don't know. There you go. Okay, so let me back up a little bit here. WASM, WebSys. Okay, so it's using 16.13.0. So let me grab nvm install 16.13.0. It's going to install 16.13.0. Oh, extracting Node and npm. That's very cool. There, at my computer now. There's a whole Wookiee deep cut reference there. 16.13.0. So, okay, so when you say use, UAC comes up, Windows command processor prompt comes up. You have to say, okay, so I'm thinking it's uninstalling the 20.5.0 version and now loading up the 16.13.0 version. Okay, so very cool. He uses ASDF, which is probably a power user version of Node VM. All right, so we'll go. Okay, so because I did that, then I will go mkdir walk the dog. There you go. So we've mkdir walk the dog. So we created a directory for that. cd walk le dog, and then npm init. Yeah, sorry, fix it. Yeah, the idea ultimately fix it is going to be a Metroidvania type game or a Super Mario game, according to this book that I've got. Game development with Rust and WebAssembly. So. All right, so according to this, nvm init rust web pack. Oh my God, that's working. Or so far it hasn't errored. That's bully for me. All right, so we need to install the following packages. Create web pack. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, so we're doing our thing here. Let me turn off Firefox here. There we go. You can see what's going on. So Rust plus WebAssembly plus Webpack equals the heart. Okay. And we're installing our stuff. I'm assuming it's still doing something. So what you're saying, Beta Wolf, is I'm about... Oh, there we go. Okay. New major version of NPM available. Because I'm using an older version, obviously, it's using the NPM version that came with 16.13.0. But because the book said the latest LTS version is 16.13.0, I'm going to be using that. Obviously, NPM wants to use the latest version. I, being a developer, I don't really care about using the latest software. I'm just going to use what works. So yeah, I'm going to use what works for me, and my tool chain is using something from, 2019. So, Beowulf, if I ever got popular enough to create the next Flappy Birds or Angry Birds, well, I'll still continue to stream because, I'm kind of weird like that. So, all right, so we've initiated, and we npm initted Rust Webpack. Let me double check and make sure that works. Oh God, that's a lot of errors. Oh my God, what is that? Okay, so error, all of these packages exist still. Okay, maybe what I'm hoping is, because I ran it once already, I didn't have to run it again. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so you should see something like this. Oh, okay, so installed 17 in 1.94 seconds. Let me see. Y'all able to see that, right? Okay, I want it to be large enough so y'all can see that. Fix it according to the document. So if he said these are the things you're going to need to install. So these are it's not server side, it's going to be client side, but he says, I know I promised to be writing in Rust. This will still be a web application. You'll need Node.js to run the app. I recommend installing the LTS version. Older versions of Node.js may not work with the package creation tools as expected if you're using Ubuntu. Be especially cautious when using the Debian distro, which is a very old version. So he says you should have Node.js installed. And we went through installing the NVM Node Version Manager already. There's a couple of links up above in the chat window where you can download that for Windows or Linux or Mac if you need to. So I'm just trying to follow along in the book as if I'm in chapter 1 and I don't know what I'm doing. So just in case for posterior, somebody comes in and wants to follow along. So I initialized the project, which worked, and I got the Rust assembly webpack equals heart thing, installed dependencies, which I got up here before I got the error message, so I didn't need to run it again. And then congratulations, you can install the dependency with npm install. I think it's done. Run. Okay, so I've got to run that command. Copy. Okay, so Control-Shift-V. So it's going to do its thing and install all of the necessary dependencies for that. This is kind of good. I mean, it gives you exactly what you need to install. Removed 191 packages, changed 23, audited 31 in 8 seconds. Well, that's pretty quick. Okay. Found 0 vulnerabilities that it knows of. You can install the, okay, if you prefer to use Yarn, you can, with the exception of the npm init command. I'll be using npm for this book. So we're going to use npm, even though you may want to use Yarn, you can do what you want. I can't help you with Yarn. So fix it. It suggested Node.js. I'm assuming at some point we'll be doing some server side stuff, even though a lot of the game development sounded like it was going to be on client side. So, all right, so run the server. So we're going to npm run start. So npm run start. You may see an error like this: Rust compilation, @child process, anonymous, walkdog, node modules, something. That happens, you need to install WASM pack manually. Ugh. Gods, I hope not. So, all right, so far, things are happening. Rust Webpack template 0.1.0 start, rimraf dist package, and Webpack dev server open D. Oh, okay, so what you didn't see here, so two things happened, which you're seeing is my browser window. The other thing you're not seeing is Windows Security Alert. It says Windows Defender's blocked some features of Node.js. It's wanting to open a port. So I'm going to allow it access, and it does mention NVM version 16.13.0 Node exe. So it's opening up a port 8080, it looks like. So localhost 8080 on the browser window. You can see that it compiled 50 hidden modules successfully. Okay, and so when you see WJDM compiled successfully, you can browse to your app at localhost 00. It's a blank page, but if you open Developer Tools console, you should see the following. And we will do that. We will open. Okay, so open Developer Tools. So you see what? There you go. It says my Rust Webpack project, index.js. So there you go. I need to open the console instead of that. So let me go F12, right? Function F12. There we go. Just F12 on my, I did something on my keyboard here that I changed the colors. Okay, good. I put it back. All right, so console. Partitioned cookie or storage access. Oh, I have to refresh. Let me refresh. On there we go. F12. There we go. There. Hello World. We see the Hello World there. WDS Live reloading enabled, which is what it says here for the output on the book. So we see the Hello World, and we see live loading enabled, index.bg.js:182 and client 52, which is, this one's 270. So it's roughly the same. And the latest Rust edition with the most recent Rust idioms and conventions is 2021. So he wrote this in 2022. This changed in the generated cargo.toml file and package section is shown here. Calling the FBI, they said people use light up keyboards. They're hackers. That's right. I'm a real hacker now. My Cherry keyboard. I have red keys on my Cherry keyboard. Don't ask me what that means. I understand there's a whole band or tribe or cult around, using certain types of keys for certain parts of the keyboard. So I use what came with the board. There you go. I don't have a hoodie though, Beta Wolf. I've thrown out all my hoodies. I think I may have one. Well, that's not true. I may have one left, but it's a completely white hoodie. But being in San Diego, I have no reason to use it yet. So you must change. Okay, so this is changed in the cargo.toml. So, well, when I go to Vegas, we'll see what happens. Let me see. There should have been a cargo.toml that was created. Here's your cargo.toml, or TOML. So let me see what it says. Okay. Close this terminal window. It says you must change your own details, package, Rust Webpack template, super awesome Rust assembly and Webpack project 1.0. Okay, so we saw I think we saw this in the browser window. Hello World, yes, okay. No, we didn't see that in the browser window. I thought I saw that on something. Oh, page source. Nope. Okay. What have you? So author is you, so you@example.com. If I wanted to put my email address here, I could. Category is WASM, README, edition 2018. So there's various different options here to change inside of your TOML for environment variables, and you see our dependencies down here at the bottom: WASM bind gen, WASM bind gen futures, JS sys, and futures. All right. Okay. So this is changed and as shown here. So edition 2021. Where's that at? Edition. So it is only the edition field that is changed here. Okay. I'm not going to change that, and it doesn't say to change it. So we'll see what happens. We'll go on through here. Update the dependencies. The dependency generating TOML are not going to be the latest and greatest unless you happen to pull the template down the moment it was updated. Since neither of us is that lucky, you're going to want to open up that file and modify the dependencies to the following. Please note that the ellipses are just in there to mark a gap in the file, not meant to be typed in. All right. So, where do we want to put that? WASM find gen. So we want to. Part of me wants to make a backup to this file, or actually, you know what I'm going to do? That's what I'm going to do. All right. So, the smart person, Goofus and Gallant. So, Goofus just manually edits shit without thinking. Gallant actually, creates another section here where you can see what used to be there when I made the changes. No, I'm not going to use G Drive. I'm at the country house using a horrible laptop trying to manage without a lit keyboard. Hard since it's 1:30 in the morning. Oh, well, I appreciate you being here at 1:30 in the morning a.m. Fix it. Most useful spec on any computer. The keyboard, of course, has to be as quiet as possible. Expecting a war over that. Yeah, I don't do clicky key, so when I'm typing, hopefully it's not coming across on the stream. All right, and so we changed dependencies websys. All right, so websys dependencies.websys is 3.55. So I'm going to copy. What I'm hoping I can do is do that, and then change 322 to 355. And then dev dependencies, I'm going to go down to dev dependencies, and it's going to ask us for 328. Okay. .28. JYSys is okay. Got a little Spanish guitar sound like there. Nice. My 160 watt speakers share the same office with me that my wife does. So, watering my garden. You got good music vibes on. Yeah, it's Chill Hop. Chill Hop. All music brought to you by Chill Hop. It's with Mr. You can see the up in the corner here the what's playing right now. So you can also find this information and go to Bandcamp and pick up their music if you want to. All right, so 355 and 0428. So what I'm hoping is that this won't give me an error when I go to save this. Those versions I used to write this book. If you're feeling adventurous, you can go to crates.io and find the most recent version, which I said would do, but I'm a glutton for punishment. You're probably smarter than me, and we'll use the version specified here so that sample code works. I'm not smarter than him. I'm still learning. I would use the versions he specified in the book because like I said, I don't want to try to substitute flour in my cake for, almond bark or whatever the hell they call it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this bad boy. Hopefully this will work. Any error messages we get, I will then take the comment areas out or move them out of the dev dependencies area. What I'm hoping is the pound signs will allow me to keep what the old versions were so I don't make any kind of issues. So, update console error panic hook. So this is still in the TOML file. Console error panic hook is 015. We want to go to 017. So I'm assuming that's because there's something in the minor version update that was needed. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that and save that as well. We actually have a garden in our a garden in our backyard. We actually have plants in our backyard. So we were out, my mother-in-law and myself and my wife and my daughter are trying not to kill the trees. So we're actually trying to do what we can to save the trees and be kind of more backyard people than we were in our Seattle house, which had nothing in there except grass. All right, so later we'll make this a conditional dependency so that you don't deploy it during build releases, but for now this is enough to progress. Who wants to continue messing with config files anyway? I want to draw stuff on the screen. All right, so ideally I'd love to be able to draw things on the screen before we leave today, so we'll see what happens if we can get that in the next 20 minutes. While this application uses npm init template to create itself, you can use its output to create a cargo generate template so that you don't have to redo these changes every time you create an application, simply by creating a Git repo. Of course, if you do that, you'll fall behind changes to Rust Webpack templates, so it's a trade-off. If you're curious about using Cargo Generate to create your own templates, would you like to know more? You can go to this bit.ly link in the book itself. And God's bless. Yeah, I know some people. God damn. Okay, yeah. I'm going to click on that and there we go. Cargo Generate. There's the cargo. That's the bit.ly link when I clicked on the. Okay, so Red Hat Boy is one of the sprites. So, okay, so what the hell happened here? Oh, okay. I done pooched it, so. There's a progress bar at the bottom of the screen here that you can't see on the Kindle app. Sorry, I don't do books. I do audiobooks, but all right. So we've done all that drawing to the canvas. To write our game in Rust. So we're down here on the bottom of the page. To write our game in Rust, we're going to need to draw to the screen, and for that we need to use the HTML canvas element using 2D content. What the canvas provides is an API, advanced programming interface? Automated? No, it's probably advanced. Application. I look forward to your hate mail. He doesn't even know what the hell an API stands for. I literally blanked on what API was. Maybe I am going nuts. Application programming interface, not advanced or automated. Oh God. For drawing directly to the screen without knowledge of WebGL or using an external tool. Looks like Mario and Ash Ketchum merged together. Yeah, he calls it Red Hat Boy, so I don't know if it's because he likes Red Hat Linux or what have you. All right. He said we're going to start converting Rust from Hello World to an application that draws a Sierpinski triangle. Let me see, a Sierpinski triangle. I think I saw it earlier. It's the one with like a square, and then it's like an upside down square inside, and then it's another upside down square. So it's like triangles inside an upside down triangle inside another triangle. So it's a fractal image. Let me see. Sierpinski triangle. Google knows what I want. There we go. So there you go. There's your Sierpinski triangle. Yeah. Triangles inside of triangles, yo. Yo, dog, I heard you like triangles, so I put a triangle inside your triangle inside your triangle. So yeah, there you go. According to Wikipedia's, it's infinite, right? So if you just kept David Hasselhoffing down into it, you would see these triangles making bigger triangles and bigger triangles. So yeah, there's where we are on that. There we go. Fur Fox. All right. Okay, so add the canvas. Canvas is an HTML element that allows us to draw freely, making it an ideal candidate for games. Oh, okay. It's time of this writing. Flash is dead. God bless us, everyone. You don't know how much it is good that Flash is dead. Now, ironically enough, the archive.org We talked about this in the last stream, as a matter of fact, Beta Wolf. We touched on some of that with the old games that we found on archive.org. Lady P had mentioned there's a Flash emulator written in Rust called Ruffle, ruffle.rs, that is a Flash emulator for Rust. It's a Flash emulator written in Rust. So that, we can't get rid of Flash, but we'll create other things that will do the bad thing for us. So, it's a Flash emulator. It runs natively on all operating systems as a standalone application and on all modern browsers through the use of WebAssembly. So there we go. So it all cross-moginates, right? So, we're gonna create sprites. We're gonna use, something. So it's not Ruffle, but it's going to be something similar. But in archive.org, they use Ruffle for all the Flash games like Elf Bowling and all the ones with malware on it that you want to use and play with. Ruffle.rs is the emulator we're going to need. All right, so Canvas can use WebGL or WebGPU for games, and WebAssembly will work quite well with those technologies. They're out of scope in this book. You will be using the built-in Canvas 2D API application programming interface. And its 2D context. This means you won't have to learn a shading language. Good, because I don't know what a shading language is. Wait, when people throw shade, no, wait, it's not the same. And we'll be able to get images on the screen very quickly. It also means that if you need to, you can find an excellent documentation on the Mozilla Developer Network, which is right here. There you go. If you want to poke around on that. So, all right. So to draw the canvas, we'll need to add it to the web page. Open up static index.html and add underneath body tag canvas ID equals canvas, tab index equals 0, height 600, width 600. Your browser does not support Canvas. That's pretty funny. All right. So let me go. I'm going to save this TOML file again just in case. Hit Control S. There we go. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up my. All right. So where is. Okay. Static index.html. And then in the body tag right here. Body tag. Oh, you rat bastard. Okay. That's why we can't have nice things. All right. Body tag canvas ID. This is probably why they don't want you to like just copy paste blindly. Oh, you are a fucker. Yeah, see, so yeah, okay, so the copy paste didn't work there on that. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, but why is it? Okay, so body tag is up top. Tag, canvas ID, canvas, tab index 0, height 600, width 600. Your browser doesn't support the canvas tag, which if your browser doesn't support the canvas tag, I think you probably need to update to a browser that has been written in this decade. I'm fairly certain the web APIs have been able to add in shading and animation without the need for any extra info. Oh, good to know, Beta Wolf. Good to know. All right, so we'll show up on browser. There aren't many of those anymore. So yeah, I mean, like if you're still the last person using IE6, you're not going to be able to use this. The canvas tag is, I would say, old in terms of the world. So make sure you don't delete the script tag that's running the JavaScript and WebAssembly you're building in this project. So that's why I didn't delete this. I just put this area underneath it. Okay, finally, to get to write some Rust code, we'll be able to delete some Rust code anyway. In source lib.rs, you'll see a function called main.js, with the following code. This provides better error messages in debug mode. It's disabled in release mode so it doesn't bloat up the file size. Go ahead and remove the comments in the CFG bug annotations annotation. All right, so let me save this. All right, so I saved that. I'm going to open up source src librs. Okay, and it said to remove. This provides better air. Okay, so this. Okay, so go ahead and remove the comments and the CFG debug annotations annotation. For the time being, we'll leave that running in our build and we'll remove it when preparing for production with a feature flag. Okay. Okay, so I am going to assume I can delete all of this here. Oh God, why does that make my grundle hurt? You know what? I'm just going to err on the side of caution. We don't have to delete the comments, but he just wants to remove those lines. So technically, I've just done that. So I don't have to. Yeah, I'm just gonna comment those out so they don't get run anyway. And yeah, so first import is the prelude for WASM bind gen. This brings, oh wait. Okay, so for the time being, we'll leave that running in our build and remove it when prepping. Important note, if you're seeing an error from your editor that says console log JS value from stir hello world code is missing on an unsafe block, don't worry, that error is wrong. Unfortunately, it's a bug in Rust Analyzer that's been addressed in this issue. Okay, so there's a GitHub issue. You'll see this error with anything that uses procedural macros under the hood. If you're using an editor that supports experimental settings, you may be able to fix the problem. Check out this. When in doubt, check the output from run start, as that's the more accurate source for compilers. Removing that code will remove the warning found debug assertions in target CFG dependencies notice on the startup of the app. At this point, you may have noticed I'm not telling you to restart the server after changes, and that's because npm start runs the Webpack dev server, which will automatically detect changes, then rebuilds and refreshes the app. Cool. Unless you're changing the Webpack config, you shouldn't have to restart. Okay. Okay, so, all right, I did that, saved that, I saved that, and now, so where is my, my Rust? Okay, so, just to show you, it's automatically refreshing. It automatically added the tag, which was the code where we modified index.html when we put tag in. So let me move that down. Okay, so you see where I put tag in here. So if I put tag 1, damn your hide. Okay, so there we go. Now put tag. Now I'm going to save this again. I'm going to save the index. Oh, wow, that was quick. All right. That was pretty sweet. So that was super quick. So I put tag 2, and then I hit Control S to save. Oh, that's nice. Okay. That's like, boom, done. Very nice. Okay. I'm actually surprised that this is working fairly decently well. All right, so up to now I've been telling you what to do and you've been blindly doing it because you're following along like a good reader. That's very diligent of you. Yeah. Here. Okay, it's time to take a look at the current source and just see what we have in our WebAssembly library. First, let's start with the use directives. Use WASM bind gen prelude, use web_sysconsole. The first import is prelude or WASM bind gen. That brings in the macros you'll see shortly and a couple of types that are pretty necessary for writing Rust for the web. Unfortunately, it's not a lot and shouldn't pollute the namespace too much. Polluting the namespace. So I don't know what this is, so obviously smart enough to realize that I may have that question right now. Refers to what can happen when you use the asterisk syntax and import everything from a given module. The module has a lot of exported names. You'll now have those same names in your project and they aren't obvious when you're coding. For example, WASM_bind gen Prelude had a function named add in it, and you could also add a function named add to your namespace. They would collide. You can work around this by using explicit namespaces when you call the function, but why use asterisk in the first place? By convention, many Rust packages have a module named Prelude, which can also be imported via asterisk for ease of use. Other modules should be imported for their full name. So the other import is web_sys_console, which brings in the console namespace from websys, which can in turn mimic the console name in JavaScript. This is a good time to talk a little more in detail about what these modules do. I've said it before, but it bears repeating. WASM bindgen provides the capability to bind JavaScript functions so you can call them in WebAssembly and expose your WebAssembly functions to JavaScript. There's that language again, the one we're trying to avoid by writing Rust, but it can be avoided because we're working in a browser. One of the limitations of WebAssembly is that it cannot manipulate the DOM, or Domain Object Model. Look at me. DOM is a scary place. It's a fancy way of saying that it can't change the web page. So it can't change the back end part. So like the DOM is where everything, so like it knows HTML equals this, or knows body equals this, or whatever. It knows canvas, it does this. That's for me, that's how I interpret the DOM. So when you put in a canvas tag, the DOM knows, well, Canvas has these capabilities. What it can do is call functions in JavaScript, which can in turn do the work. So WebAssembly, Rust, and JavaScript, they're going to work back and forth together. Any data that is passed to JavaScript object is marshaled into shared memory and then pulled out by JavaScript so that it can in turn turn it into something it understands. This is a lot of code to write over and over again, which is what the WASM bindgen crate does for you. Later, we'll use it to bind our own custom bindings to third-party JavaScript code, but what about all the functions already built in, such as console.log? That's where WebSys comes in. It uses WASM bindgen to bind all of the functions in the browser environment so you don't have to manually specify. The we allocator. Every time I want to say we, I want to say it in a Scottish accent, like, oh, it's we. A poor Scottish accent. I apologize to any Scottish folk who might be listening, or fix it for I don't know if he's in Scotland or whatever, but I do apologize. All right, to sum up, bindgen gives you the capability to communicate between WebAssembly and JavaScript, and WebSys contains a large number of pre-created bindings. If you're particularly interested in how the calls between WebAssembly and JavaScript work, check out this article by Lynn Clark, hacks.mozilla.org from 2018. God damn. Okay. So we are unfortunately at time for me. I had hoped to get on about half an hour earlier, but unfortunately I had to have a heart-to-heart with my daughter about finding and networking and working on resumes and things. So I'm hope you'll have patience with me. I'm actually interested enough in this to maybe do something Sunday night if I can't get Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin on. So I may do a Sunday night Rust thing just so we can get to this point and actually write a freaking triangle in this system. So we will be getting to that. We're on page 41 of 623 according to the Kindle version. Okay, thank you, Fix-It. Appreciate you. So if you're interested in following along with me, go buy the book. It's on Kindle. It's in dead tree format if you want to go that route. If you want the book now but don't want to wait for the dead tree version, buy the Kindle book and you can probably print it. Or there are other ways of converting it into more useful formats. I will not tell you exactly how to do that. I'm not the caliber of person that would tell people how to do that. So yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing something on Sunday evening for this. Oh, this is a good song here. Whale Call. It's a good one. I'm going to go because I got to go make some burgers and things, but I appreciate everybody for sticking around with me. Fix It, Beta Wolf, Age of Music. Thank you for whispering me your music. I will definitely give that a look. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry, Fix It. My bad. I'm so sorry. That is, I will own that mistake. I do normally ask about pronouns, but I missed on that one. Thank you, Fix It. Thank you, Beta Wolf, for keeping me honest there. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, I'm gonna do a little something on Sunday night. So keep an eye out, and we'll make that happen. So, all right, thanks everyone. If you're in San Diego watching this, yeah, Fix It. That would be good. Yeah, Sunday night we'll I'll get on and do another hour and a half or so, possibly, and we'll see what happens. So. All right, thanks everyone. I'm going to be at the zoo tomorrow, and also in Fashion Valley in San Diego. If you know those places, hit me up. So, all right, have a great night, y'all, and stay safe. And give your family members a hug, or just reach out to somebody and just let them know you're there. And Walt, thank you so much for being here as well. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.